So, I welcome you all today for a very interesting session on Bhagavad Gita for professionals. So, we've always been studying, and this is on academics. Now, this is a spiritual side of studies, which we are very fortunate to have CA Suresh Subramanian ji with us. And he has been my singing guru also. So, multifaceted person he is. To give a formal, before that, I would request everybody to keep their mobile phones on silent, please. To give a formal vote of introduction, I'd like our coordinator, CA Hemant Gandhi.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. First of all, let us welcome our first speaker today, CA, Sri Suresh Subramanian ji, for taking out of his precious time to come over here and grace the occasion. I will give he has so much achievements that it will be very difficult to give his introduction very briefly. So I will just say Mr. Suresh Subramanian is the professionally Suresh is a chartered accountant of more than 4 decades standing. As a happiness coach, Suresh conducts private and public sessions on management of people relations, handling stress, understanding relationship, dealing with success and failure, etc., leading to happiness and fulfillment. He is the lead facilitator for a course on application of Indian ethos for college students, which focuses on a practical approach to success through IKS Indian knowledge system. A versatile singer, Suresh curates and conducts shows in multi-genre, multilingual, but popular music. He also conducts classes and trains aspirants for honoring their singing skill. He has trained more than 200 students so far. He conducts his coaching and music activities under his own banner called Sukt Swar. He says his greatest achievement in this life has been his contribution in ideation and establishing Chinmaya Vishwa Vidyapith, a university founded on Indian knowledge traditions and their modern day applications. He was the founder registrar and principal director of the university. His mentor and partner in that project was Swami Adhyaranji, our main speaker for today. He has founded and heads PNS Foundation, a non-profit engaged in supporting school education and music education for deserving but financially deprived students, as also on supporting full monetary health care. So with this, I welcome Sri Sureshji on the dais.
And I would like Bhaviji also to join us. Raji, ma'am, please. Sorry.
कलर में खूब अच्छा अंदर से Hello. 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 Is it audible or should we little higher? Hello. Hello. Arun sir. Hello. 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 Ha. When normally in music programs, many of my students are not aware of how to use a mic. So they get a mic in the hand and they can't find the sound. They do like this. मैं बोला नारियल नहीं है, तोड़ना नहीं है उसको. You're only supposed to say hello, hi, good morning. So Hari Om and good morning to all of you. I'll start with a brief prayer. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Any learning starts with the first principle, and I think we all as professionals know this best, with sharing. Because whatever we learn is coming because somebody shared with us. And whatever we have learned has to go back to society, to the people with whom we interact by our sharing. Because knowledge is like a river which is flowing. हमारी अंजुली में जितना हम भर सकते हैं, हम भर लेंगे. वो जैसे भरने की कोशिश करते हैं, उसमें से कुछ छूट भी जाता है. जो छूट जाता है, वो वहीं रहता है. Because it is knowledge. And whatever we have got, we may consume it, but we then share it. Because what we have experienced from what we gained is what we share. The prayer is saying the same thing. That in the collective sharing of whatever we have gained, knowledge will grow. Knowledge will get illumined. I think there is no better example of that than what we do continuously, continuous professional education. Because that is exactly what we are doing. Whatever we know, we share. So what I'm going to do today is also the same thing. What I know, I will share. And it has to be interactive. Interactive in the sense that there will be some time in between that I will ask you something. So please be ready to tell me something, whatever you feel like. Because this is very subjective. Unlike our professional knowledge, which is to do with a specific topic, a subject which has got certain objectivization which we use in our profession, this is very subjective. What I say, you can interpret differently, he can interpret differently, she can interpret differently, because it depends on the life situation in which we are. We started off with the Institute motto song, and it starts with the first thing which is under the eagle, Ya Esha Supteshu Jagrati. Literally, the English translation of that means, who's a chartered accountant? The one who's awake in those who are asleep. This is also from the Gita. This is, of course, from the Vedas, but it is also from the Gita. Who is a Stita Prajna? This is one thing which is said in the Gita. That who is a Stita Prajna? In that is the one who's awake among those who are asleep. This is what it means. इसका मतलब है कि सीए वो है जो रात में पार्टी करता है. ये सभी सोते रहते हैं. But
कि सभी सोते रहते, हम लोग पार्टी करते हैं। रात को कल डांडिया हुआ था, so we are all enjoying ना. Today also is there. I think some people are celebrating it today, right? Today also it will be there. Only the Mata will get some rest after 8-9 days of our pressure on her. So the subject that we are dealing with today is Gita for professionals. So before we start with Gita, we will understand what professionals are. We are all professionals, correct? So this is not, although we are all chartered accountants and we are discussing among chartered accountants, when we say professionals, professionals means anybody who does anything which is of service to others, for which that person is an expert. We understand that, right? So carpenter is also a professional. Chartered accountant is also a professional. Doctor is a professional. Lawyer is a professional. My profession is, somebody asked me today, what are you doing? Are you practicing? I used to be. Today, I only yak. I only keep talking. Or I keep singing. So today my profession is that. So profession is something which keeps changing on the basis of what we choose to do in life. There are many chartered accountants who are no longer in the professional practice from which we trained ourselves. They are in different lines of work. Niranjan Hiranandani is a builder long ago, but he is CS, he is a CA. So there are people like that, right? You have chosen a different profession from what they study. So the profession is what we are practicing, obviously. Leave it. I'll use my finger. Fastest finger first. No problem. Knowledge. We are all in the knowledge profession. That's our job. Okay. We are all professionals by default. How? When we were studying for CA, we all, luckily because I'm part of the fraternity, I can talk like that. When we were studying for CA, we made mistakes, even in studying. And in making mistakes in those studying, we learned and we became experts at not making the same mistake again. Because there are so many mistakes to make. एक किया, उसमें से सीखा, अभी नया कुछ करेंगे. So this is our profession. We keep making mistakes new, naya, so that we don't keep repeating the same mistakes. Are we still practicing? Somebody asked me this question. Are you still practicing? I'm not practicing. But our profession, doctors, advocates, architects, we are all called practicing professionals. So we are so continuously practicing that when are we going to become an expert? Jindagi mein practice hi karte rahenge. When are we going to become an expert? Who is a consultant? I am a consultant. So you ask me what is the time? I take your watch. See the time. Tell you it is 9:50, and I pocket the watch. So I'm a consultant. I am the person who tells you the time when you ask me for the time. For that, I borrow your watch and I pocket it. This is a consultant. So we sort of identify knowledge as the same as skill. Knowledge and skill are two totally different things. That which is to know is knowledge. And how to use that which we know is skill. So there are two different things. Invariably, we sort of interchangingly use skill as the same as knowledge, that which is to know. Many people are there in the world who know a lot of things. But when it comes to actually applying it, somewhere there is a gap. Right? So this is not the same as skill. Now, at the foundation of knowledge, is truth. Because every knowledge that we gain, we try to assimilate in our life, is ultimately leading to one knowledge, and that is truth. What truth? Truth about ourselves. Because when we are discussing Bhagavad Gita, let us understand that we have three different personal, let's say, roles that we have in life. One is that which we are in public. how others see us, to that which we are in our profession, the how of how we are working in the field that we are engaged in, and 3, how we are as a person. So 3 P's. So when we look at Bhagavad Gita as a subject for learning, we are looking at these 3 P's. Now today our subject is Gita for professionals. But I'm asking you a question. Can you separate the person from the profession? Can you separate the person from the way he is in public? Because many times, I mean, after we have become chartered accountants, as students, whatever we may have done, after we have become chartered accountants, and when we are dealing with people, we are asked, "Sorry, to CA jaisa behave hi nahi karta hai." Sometimes we do that, isn't it? You don't behave like a CA. Or sometimes when we behave in a particular manner, spoken like a CA. So there is an identification of me, the person, with me, the professional, by they, the public, when they are dealing with the same person. So how can you separate that? So when you look at Bhagavad Gita as a text for understanding, we are discussing the person in the professional, the person as the public sees, and the person as the person sees himself also. Because without that, you can't be whatever you are. So when we look at it that way, transcendental knowledge, this is what we are discussing when we talk about Bhagavad Gita. Transcendental knowledge empowers transactional knowledge. Our knowledge about whatever we are in the profession is mostly transactional. Transactional about what the client is doing, about what we are doing with the client, or how we get paid for what we are doing, or there is some inter-exchange. It may not be paid. Sometimes we do quid pro quo also. Correct? There is some interface. How that transaction happens, that empowering of that transactional knowledge happens because there is some transcendental knowledge. I want to ask before I proceed ahead, how many of you are unfamiliar with Bhagavad Gita? Unfamiliar. And there is nothing wrong in saying I don't know. Unfamiliar. Many of us know Bhagavad Gita is there. For many of us, Bhagavad Gita is a book that used to be kept at home in a red cloth. Roj usme fool chadana, and then say Gita Mata ki jai and come. What Gita Mata has told us, many of us don't know. So the familiarity for many ends there. And the familiarity for many is having read, maybe in part or in full, the entire text, understood what its import is, what its meaning is, and trying to imbibe that knowledge into their own life on a day-to-day basis. These are two extremes of people who are connected with Bhagavad Gita. Now, somewhere in between is what most of us are, because we are all in transactional knowledge. In transactional knowledge, we are seeking something which will make me a better person. I, the better person, will become I, the better professional. I, the better professional, will be viewed as a better person by the public. Simple. So we are expert professionals, because once the moment we are professionals, we are experts, isn't it? In whatever profession. New 1 year old chartered accountant and 50 years of practice chartered accountant. We are still CS. We are still fraternity. We are brothers and sisters. Correct? Is our expertise because of our knowledge. The subjects that we have learned, whatever we have learned in the course of our, many of us are in different specializations. Fine. But is it because of our knowledge? Questions I'm asking, because these are introspection. As I said, it is subjective. Is it because of our knowledge that we are professionals? Is it because we can separate the chaff from the rice? When something comes to us, something comes in contact with us, we are able to separate the chaff from the rice, because the rice is what we want. We don't want the husk. So we are able to throw away the husk. Are we the ones who can do that? Many, an example which I use in many talks is this. We are all familiar with our village How many of you have gone to your village homes or continuing to still going to your village homes? How many of you are coming from a village before you started studying early? You're coming from a village. In villages in India, different way of putting it, but then in villages in India, rice is of course a staple grain in us. Rice is cultivated. Now the rice is cultivated after the harvest. The rice is stored in gunny bags, and it is stored in the go down wherever it is in the house. And then at home we need that rice for cooking. How do we use that rice? We don't go to the go down, go to the gunny bag, take out the rice and bring it to the kitchen. No, we have something like a barrel, different kinds of barrel, but different a barrel in which a rice gunny bag is poured into that barrel. And under the barrel, right below, there is one small cork. That cork we remove, keep a vessel of how much of rice we want, close the cork, take it to the kitchen, and we will cook it. This is our normal practice in every village. Different. The thing may vary, but this is normally the practice. Now you are putting rice, gunny bags and gunny bags of rice. Now, when you did the harvest, you also got husk or maybe even pebbles, and you stored them also alongside in the left. By mistake, one of your servants or somebody, he brought that husk and put it on top of the rice. Then you opened. One day when you have to cook, you opened. What will you get? Yes. This is what professionals are. You know that the husk is on top, the rice is there. Now you made a realized mistake. You put rice. Open, husk will come. Our life is exactly the same. Whatever goodness you can store in yourself is what will come out in your interaction with the world. The moment you receive some negativity and you store that negativity, somewhere that will find expression in anger, in jealousy, in some sort of negative reaction, it will come. So the question is, what is your barrel? What does your barrel contain? Is it got rice or chaff? For us to decide. We are refreshed or rebooted every time we attend an RRC, a CP study circle. We are refreshed. We are rebooted. Our knowledge keeps on refreshing itself. So we are experts because we keep refreshing ourselves. I'm talking about us. The same thing applies to doctors. Same thing applies to legal professionals. Correct? How many of you gentlemen, how many of you have threaded a needle? I did not ask the ladies because you would have done it. So I'm assuming you have done it. Threaded a needle. What is required in threading a needle? Focus. Focus is what is needed. So we are focused. We are focused on what we are setting out to achieve. That is our quality. That is why we are experts. That is why we are professionals. We shared to grow. We don't share many inside information with clients because we don't want them to become more knowledgeable than us. That's a different thing. But we share to grow. What you know, you will let me know. What I know, I will let you know. Collectively, we grow. This is our nature. Is it that we imagined a situation better? We are professionals because we imagined the situation better. Because ये होगा तो इसका परिणाम ये होगा, ये परिणाम अगर होगा तो इसका नुकसान ये होगा या इसका फायदा ये होगा. We are able to imagine a picture better. So are we experts because of that? Because if you look at this, Einstein says, imagination is more important than knowledge. For knowledge is limited to all that we know now and understand. And imagination is something that is yet to know, but it can embrace the entire world. How much can you think ahead? There is a saying, it says, there is not much difference between genius and stupidity. There is not much difference between genius and stupidity. But genius has got its limits. Stupidity is limitless. Vidya Vinay Sampanne. we learn. One of the important things that as professionals we learn is to keep our humility intact. But we have many among our fraternity who say, "Mujhe malum hai, mere se bada koi nahi hai." So we have people like that also. But the one important thing is Vidya Vinaya Sampanne. One of the greatest examples of Vinaya, humility in Vidya, is President Kalam. Such a great knowledgeable person. And he has said this on record when this second PSLV was launched and India went into space. He said there is not much of nuclear physics that is not already available in the Vedas. He has, quote unquote, this is what he said. So this is probably one of the greatest persons to know from. So what is yoga? Bhagavad Gita is talking about yoga. What is yoga? Yoga karmasu kaushalam. So the art of working skillfully is yoga. This is just one small definition of yoga. There are plenty huge, because yoga is not only limited to this, it's long. So some people say, I can skillfully pocket mar. Skillful pocket mar is also a yogi, Mahayogi. Correct? He can skillfully do pocket mar. Skillfully, I can commit fraud. Skillful, Mahayogi. This is just one small definition. But understand, when we are discussing knowledge and skill, this is something which we need to keep in mind. Now, are you a user or are you used?
Used. We are both.
We are both. Used by clients. And user of what? User of technology, because आजकल technology चलता है. आजकल technology चलता है. Let us understand, why are we all here? Nearing 9:13. Why are we all here?
College.
College, knowledge. Kyun college? Knowledge. You chose to attend. You chose to attend on an early morning on Sunday. Rightly said by early morning on Sunday. They chose, those who are on this side, they chose that they should have me here. 3, I chose. You chose, they chose, I chose. So we are here by choice. We are all in whatever situation we are in life, we are there by choice. Our own choice. Sometimes we say, मैं अपनी मर्जी से नहीं आया. For example, you would not have come by your marji because Vijayta told you will come. अपनी मर्जी से नहीं आया, right? But आपकी मर्जी यही थी क्योंकि you did not want to displease her. Similarly, अपनी मर्जी से आया, CP है, 4 घंटा या attendance sheet sign करना है, 4 घंटा बैठना है, Sunday morning, right? But this also happens, and as a vibrant study circle, you have so many people who are actively engaged in what you're doing. It's great. So it is everywhere in life, we are by choice. So when I was doing my 10th, somebody asked me, I don't remember. Father did not ask me. Somebody asked me, what do you want to do when you complete your education? I want to be engineer. Why I want to be engineer? I was like that rancho in 3 Idiots. Screwdriver में लेके कुछ भी खोल देगा. बाद में जोड़ने को होता नहीं है. कुछ भी खोल देगा. And once it happened, my kakas, olden times the wristwatches used to be the spring watches. So he had two spring watches. One spring watch was lying at home. Now, how can you open a spring watch? You need a very minute screwdriver, no? So I found out one knife at home, which was very, very sharp and easy. So nicely, खोल दिया. पूरा spring खोला तो पूरा, the watch came out like this. पता नहीं क्या करना है, उसको ऐसे ही बांध के लपेट के कहीं छोड़ दिया. काका आया शाम को ऑफिस से, काका पूछ रहे मेरी घड़ी कहाँ है? एकदम सिमट के बैठ गया, क्या किया मुझे पता नहीं. Correct? So then 10th happened. I did not get first class. So science college जाना तो सवाल ही नहीं है. Father was already a professor in Podar college. तो बोला चल commerce join कर. So went to Podar college. My principal at that time was PJ Joshi. So we went to his cabin. We were sitting there. So he said, what do you want to do? I said, I want to be engineer. Commerce college में. बोले commerce college तू science नहीं कर सकता है. Then I signed up for BCom, and then I realized my path was this. Because when I started the journey, I realized this is what it is. So many a times, our choice is not by what our desire is. Somewhere behind us, a choice is already made. Somewhere in our subconscious, the choice is already made. So we are where we are by our own choice. And we are here because we want to solve a paheli called our own life. So a song that comes to my mind is a beautiful Manna Day song. जिंदगी कैसी है पहेली हाय, चलिए कभी तो हंसाए कभी रुलाए, कभी देखो मन यही चाहे, पीछे पीछे सपनों के भागे, एक दिन सपनों का राही चला जाए सपनों के आगे कहां. This is our life. We dream. And in that, we are solving the mystery that is our own life. And how do we solve that mystery? 4 questions. 4 questions. All of us, from childhood till today, anything that comes in contact with us, we have these 4 questions ready. Why? What? When? How? So the curiosity comes because of this. Because human life is all about a quest in finding out something. That is all human life is all about. It's a quest for finding something. What is it that we are finding? Mostly we are finding ourselves. And in finding ourselves, we are finding so many things connected with us, including the profession. But in this entire thing, the one thing we must always remember, what is the power which is running you, me, everybody? There is one power. That one power, that one energy, call it whatever you like. Some people like to use the word soul, Atma, Paramatma, kuch bhi, naam aap kuch bhi bol lo. There is one power which is energizing all of us, which is common to all of us. There is no change. Correct? As another example, memory comes to my mind. In childhood, I was very naughty. I can easily say that now. So, live plug points. I used to put my finger inside them. पता नहीं क्या है, curiosity ना, उसके अंदर डालेगा तो क्या होगा? 3 times in my childhood, I have got a shock and I've jumped and I've been thrown back. 3 times. My parents, my uncles, aunts, everybody used to be parishan of me. बोला किधर भी जाएगा तो, and then once our kaka used to stay in Delhi, we used to go to Delhi for holiday. The moment I will get out from the taxi after coming from the station, kaka ऊपर से बोलेंगे, अरे वो plug point में सब tape लगाओ, सुरेश आता है. So that is how it was. The curiosity to know what happens. Now let's understand this a little, extend this a little further. We have this light going on. We have this screen going on, laptop going on, that sound going on. Everything is connected to electricity, power. We call it power, electricity. Where is electricity? Huh? You cannot see it, but where is it? They are all connected. Where is it? They are all inside the conduits of that line. Now, when I want to switch on the screen, I will have to switch on that button which will switch on the screen. By switching on the button which will switch on the light, the screen will not come on. If I switch off the light, screen will not go off. So the electricity is running continuously. When I switch on a particular switch or switch it off, the manifestation will happen or not. So what happens when we switch on is only manifestation of that power. Power is already there. Unseen. God is already there. Unseen. The energy is already there. Unseen. That consciousness is already there. Unseen. Unknown. When I switch on this talking among you, I am switching on among you this interaction, Gita for professionals. When I go back, let's say I'm going to have a social call a little while later, I'll be talking about all things which happen in family, among friends, etc., etc. I switch on something else. So that power will switch on in whatever manifestation I choose. So the choice is entirely left to us. So this is life. This is our life. Manifestation of our life will happen depending on the button that you switch on. If I want to switch on fraud, fraud will switch on. No problem. Fraud doesn't, the power doesn't say, I will not switch on for fraud. I will switch on for fraud. You want to pickpocket? I will switch on. Whatever you want, I will switch on. You want to be good. You want to be nice. You want to be helpful. You want to grow. You want to contribute. You want to share. I am always there. So the power doesn't distinguish. You know, many old timers of my time are there. Watch Diwar, Amitabh Bachchan, Shashi Kapoor. Correct? You have that scene in which that 786 billa he used to carry, right? And he is running. Shashi Kapoor is chasing him. And somewhere he falls down and the billa goes inside. Till then, that billa going inside, he is running, he is skillfully escaping from the cops, skillfully. And the billa goes inside in the back of his mind. This is not told by any dialogue. In the back of his mind, billa is my lucky thing, it will save me. So he is looking for that billa. Billa doesn't come to his hand, he runs, and then of course there is a death. So in Shashi Kapoor, the chasing cop, in Amitabh Bachchan, the running away, let's say criminal, the power is the same. The power is the same. Both of them are getting signals, one to escape, one to catch. So the power doesn't distinguish between you and anybody else. It is the same. So life is a constant process of self-discovery. Paheli. But only if you stay connected to life, connected to that power. If you don't connect it properly, what you will get is a wonderful shock. And this is how shocks in our life happen. Because we are connecting to the wrong switch. That is how shocks happen. So how did we all come into this world? How many of us did not cry when we were born? नहीं रोएगा तो नर्स मिडवाइफ या डॉक्टर उठाएगा एक लगा इसको कान नीचे रोना आएगा. Because for them your crying or our crying was manifestation of our life, right? And that crying is the first thought that we had in life. Because in the womb of the mother, we were protected. Everything was taken care. कुछ भी जरूरत नहीं था. बाहर है, new surrounding. That moment new surrounding came, fear of the unknown. That is why we cried. And then we were comforted. इसको कपड़ा बांधो, गरम करो. Then who cried? Mother fed you. So you understand that by crying, जिंदगी में कुछ भी हासिल हो सकता है. If you want something, protest. You will get it. This is what we knew. So the song that comes to my mind is this. क्या रोते हुए आते हैं सब, हंसता हुआ जो जाएगा, वो मुकद्दर का सिकंदर जाने मन कहलाएगा. This is what we need to keep in mind always. So where is my user's manual? Am I a user or used? We got laptop, came with the user's manual. Mobile, user manual. Fridge, user manual. Stereo system, user manual. अपना user manual आया ही नहीं जब पैदा हुआ. Where is our user manual? Direct, delivered without a user manual. ढूंढ रहे हैं, किधर है? अरे no instruction, no Chinese, no English, no French, nothing. कुछ भी नहीं है. How to use? By growing up only we have learned everything. No? So the user manual for our life is Bhagavad Gita. Because this is a greatest textbook on human psychology, on human endeavor, on how to apply ourselves in life for our own success, our own happiness. This is the greatest textbook on that. So many people think it is a religious textbook. It is not. It is a psychological treatise on how we should lead our life. The three P's: public, professional, personal. So why Gita? This is Swami Chinmayananda. He had said long, long ago, about children. Children are not vessels to be filled. They are lamps to be lit. हम लोग क्या करते हैं? Information, cramming. How much of knowledge is coming out as a light? In the first prayer we said, knowledge is already there. How much of it is falling on us? That's what you're talking about. So, Gita, because from Khalistan to Khulastan. At the moment, मालूम नहीं है तो खाली है. But मालूम करना है तो खुला रखो. Our khalipan, we are happy with our khalipan. But the moment you open your mind, then a lot more can come into our life. In temples, how many of you have gone to temples in Kerala? In Kerala. Specifically Kerala, I'm asking because this is most frequently in Kerala. In other places, it's not so prevalent. In Kerala temples, if you go, the deity is inside. And the light inside that, besides the deity, is what is on the lamps, diyas, which are lit on the sides. Right? And then they do arti with camphor. And that camphor, when that arti is done, that is when we see it. Right? There is no halogen lamps there. Halogen lamps you'll find in many other temples in India. That's why I said Kerala. There are many temples like that. Even in Maharashtra also there are. When that lamp is being shown, the arti is being shown, to whom is it shown? To God. That the arti is shown to us. Because when we are there in front of that, our mind must become a khulastan. When the mind is a khulastan, you are praying, invariably our prayer is, मेरा ये केस चल रहा है बाबा, डिसीजन मेरे फेवर में आ जावे. मेरा एक ऑडिट का मेरा क्लाइंट मेरा जान खराब करके रखा है, मेरे को उसमें डिस्क्लेमर डालना है, वो मेरे को डालने नहीं दे रहा है, मेरे को इधर से छुटकारा दिला दे. These are things which happen to us. बच्चा इसको जाना यूएस जाना चाह रहा है, उसको वीजा दिला दे, फलाना डिमका. This is what is going on. But when you have khulastan there, that light is shown to you. Come on, yeah, everything is possible in life. That light has to brighten you inside, and then you will solve it. No client will solve it. No American visa consulate will solve it. You will solve it when your mind is open. So that Khalistan to Khulastan, that is why. It is a quenching of the thirsting mind. I asked you these questions. Why, what, when, how? It is a quenching of the thirsting mind. Sublime faith in self. Self meaning that power. We use the word self to talk about that power, that consciousness. Faith is the bird, Tagore, which sees the light when the dawn is still dark. We all wake up in the morning, early morning. Somebody 4 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock, 5:30, 7 o'clock, 10 o'clock, sab chalta hai. When you're waking up early in the morning, 5 o'clock, for example, how do we wake up? Allah. And your window is just outside your window, there is a nice tree, where already when you're woken up, some birds are chirping. How are they doing it? Do they have an alarm clock? They don't have an alarm clock. They don't have an alarm clock, yet they are chirping because they don't do it at 3 o'clock. They don't do it at 4 o'clock. They do it at 5, around that time. Why? Because even though the dawn is dark, they know that daylight is there. They know that daylight is there. We don't know. We want the alarm to tell us it is 5 o'clock. That is faith. Faith is to know that there is a power which will always be at our disposal. Free. It is free. You don't have to pay for it. It is there with us. It is always with us. That is faith. When you have that faith in the self being with us, then any difficulty, any danger, we will be able to come over. Upadhyaya to Swadhyaya. Anybody here with the surname Upadhyay? Upadhyaya, Upa is sitting near. In Sanskrit, Upa means sitting near. Adhyaya, study. So earlier, learning in Gurukuls used to be happening as Upa Adhyaya. You sit near the Guru and learn from the Guru. That is how it is Upadhyaya. Swadhyaya, Swa Adhyaya. Self-learning. So Gita is the textbook for us to move away from whatever we have known to assimilating that in our life and bringing a change in our life. Because we are distant from our own legacy. I started off by saying that Gita, लाल कपड़े में बांधो, रोज फूल चढ़ाओ, दिया करो, क्या किया? खोला है? नहीं. And some people have a lot of textbooks on Gita, very nicely, crafted, nice cover and all. क्या किया है? Coffee table में रखा है. कभी पढ़ा है क्या? No. In one talk, Urdu used to say, in one talk, somebody came up and he was talking about Gita, Bhagavad Gita. He came up and said, Gurudev, I have gone through Bhagavad Gita 10 times. Oh, you have gone through Bhagavad Gita 10 times. How many times has Gita gone through you? So the understanding of what is there and putting it into practice in life is important, not just learning. That's important. And fallback, apne ko kuch bhi pata, problem nahi hua, even in profession also. When we have any problem, what do? Some senior, some expert. Kya hai? Expert advice. And we take written opinion. Correct? Our fallback is also always to somebody who's senior or somebody wise. Many times that fallback is what is with you already. And restore economic pride. And one of the things which happens in economic pride, I want to give an example of Japan. Hiroshima, Nagasaki, bombed. When? 1944. Correct? Today we are, how many years? 80 years past. In 80 years past, okay, today Japan has got a problem with youth population. So it is not growing the way it is growing. So it has got a problem with the economy of Japan today. But look at Japan maybe 10, 15 years ago. It was not like this. It has grown exponentially. Why? Because people worked together in the Gita spirit. Because we want to restore our country to what its glory was. And that is Gita spirit only. Once you work like that, you can restore economic pride. Today, we are talking about our India in the last 10 years, how we have grown. We are restoring economic pride by acting in a way that is beneficial to everybody. When you look at it like that, then you are talking about restoring economic pride through our spiritual knowledge. Ignorance, फुकट में आता है. Ignorance, फुकट में आता है. Because we are all ignorant about everything. Blissfully ignorant. Gita deals with this. The first thing that Gita does is deal with ignorance. Because from ignorance only knowledge can grow. Because the next side of ignorance is knowledge. Calvin and Hobbes. Is it right to remain ignorant? I don't know. And I refuse to find out. I am happily staying ignorant. Or cases like that. मेरे को नहीं जानना. Look at the two guys in the prison. This fellow is drawing the prison bars. That fellow's ignored the prison bars and drawing the landscape outside. This is Rumi's words. The art of knowing is knowing what to ignore. In our professional life also, this we encounter many times. What to ignore? But many times we get bogged down by that which is in the bars rather than that which is in the landscape. And many compromises we make in our profession is also because we are looking at the bars, we are not looking at the landscape. The larger vision is what will make us better, but we don't see that because we remain confined by the chains of what is binding us down. That is what we are. Knowledge is knowing a tomato to be a fruit. Wisdom, fruit salad mein nahi डालेगा. Fruit salad mein tomato nahi डालेगा. Ignorance is bliss until you hit the ground. हाँ, ignorance is bliss, very very happy. एकदम झटके में नीचे डाल दिया. अयो, if only I had known. If only I had known, I would have acted better. 3 idiots. Law of conservation of knowledge. No matter how long the lecture is, the knowledge before and after the lecture is the same. And this happens to us many times. We attend a satsang, could be a bhajan, could be somebody speaking nicely, something or the other. अरे कितना अच्छा बोला, अरे कितना अच्छा गाया, कितना बढ़िया था. बाहर गए, अपने गाड़ी के सामने किसी ने गलती से बाइक लगाया, अपने को निकालने के लिए तकलीफ है. Moment all that you learned, everything is forgotten. Everything is forgotten. So sad. I remember as a child, we were staying in Matunga. Those times, Matunga, those buildings used to be these pagdi kind of buildings. Na? So we were on the first floor. On the ground floor, there was one. We school students, say 6th and 7th standard. And ghar mein to all kinds of spiritual chanting and all will always keep going on. Some record or something will be playing. This Kaka who was down, he is also daily chants Vishnu Sahasranam. और अपनी बिल्डिंग के बाहर जैनिटर है ना, वो आता है साफ करने के लिए, झाड़ू मारने के लिए आता है. तो ही भी चैंटिंग शांताकारं भुजगशयनं, ए हल्का बरोबर कुमार. अयो. Or as children, our learning is lost. And you are talking, you are chanting the God's name, and then you sing halka borobar. This is what our problem is. This is exactly what our problem is. No matter what the knowledge, this thing, how long the lecture is, पहले बाद में एक जैसा ही है. And then you will talk about Farhan nitrate and pre-radialization. किधर से ढूंढो, नहीं मिलेगा. Human beings are very strange. They have ego of their knowledge, but they have no knowledge of their ego. सही है ना? We have no knowledge of our ego. So what is ego? Mind play is what creates ego. Ego is nothing but mind play. You want to stay on two opposite sides of the spectrum and say that my point of view is this, your point of view is this. There is no meeting line because there is a wall called ego between us. And this happens many times in personal relationships, many times in client relationships also. उसको क्या मालूम है, वो ऐसे ही है, फलाना ढिमका. You start spoiling relations in that. Drop ego, you will find an answer to most things because ego is the stumbling block. So ego doesn't have a scientific equation. Scientific equation for ego, Einstein gave. 1 divided by knowledge is ego. More the knowledge, lesser the ego. Lesser the knowledge, more the ego. Simple. So become more knowledgeable. क्या है? बर्तन भरो. बर्तन भरो क्या? No. The more knowledge you assimilate and start becoming wiser, you will start applying this formula. So what knowledge say, how do you solve ego? Understand what the situation is. The situation which is making us egoistic or making the other person egoistic. Many a times, a simple English word जो अंग्रेज छोड़ गए और हम लोग फंस गए is called sorry. Thank you. I'm happy. Simple. I want you to be happy. Simple. Ultimately, all that we are doing, any one of us, are we doing anything for other than happiness? Everybody wants only to be happy. बैंक में आज बैलेंस 1 करोड़ रुपया है, 2 साल के बाद में 3 करोड़ रुपया है. आज 1 गाड़ी है, 2 साल के बाद में 4 गाड़ी है. आज 3 बेडरूम का घर है, 2 साल के बाद में बड़ा बंगला है. What is the definition of whatever you are having? The definition is ultimately only happiness. If you are happy, 1 bedroom hall kitchen is sufficient. If you are happy, what is it? Zen, Swift is sufficient. Maruti Swift is sufficient. You don't need anything more, na? So when you look at it like that, happiness is a state of mind. It is left to us. Now, if that is the case for us, why should it be different for anybody else? because we are seeing something different. We are seeing a different switch. Power is the same. We are seeing a different switch. He is a different switch, I am a different switch. That is where the difference comes about. We all have 3 working tools with which we are working. 3 working tools, all of us. What are they? Can you think? Can you say? All of us have that. Man, Vachan, Kaya. Beautifully said. Body, mind, intellect. This is a working tool. Soul is not a working tool. Soul is what is there. It is a power. It is the power. I have a body. I have a mind. I have an intellect. All of you have. No difference. Working tools are the same. So with the body, it is same for everyone. I may not have one finger. I may be lame. I may not have a foot. I may be one eye. Ek aankh ka kana. But it is same. So plus or minus organs are possible. Depends. Somebody will be little incapacitated in some way or the other. There could be visual differences. वो गाना है ना महमूद का गाना, हम काले हैं तो क्या हुआ दिल वाले हैं, हम तेरे 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 चाहने वाले हैं. So हम काले हैं तो क्या हुआ? I'm still दिल वाले. We are all dilwalas. We have visual differences. We say one girl is more beautiful than the other. तो इसको पटाना है. कॉलेज की दिनों की बात है. इसको पटाना है. ये नहीं मिले तो चलेगा, ठीक है, सेकंड उसके पीछे जाएंगे. Correct? So visual differences are there. Functionally, the body is performing the same action. The hand cannot do what the leg does. The nose cannot do what the eye does. Functionally, the body is the same for everybody. You cannot see with your nose. You cannot hear with your eyes. They are functionally the same. So this is our hardware. The body is our hardware. With the body, we act. Act. बात कर रहा हूं, हाथ उठा रहा हूं, पैर उठा रहा हूं, देख रहा हूं. We act. Mind differs to everybody. Mind is like a flow of thoughts. Mind is nothing but a flow of thoughts, like a river. Many of us would have gone to a river bank in younger days and done something or the other, right? Now, have you ever tried to watch a bubble of water in a flowing river from here to there? Have you ever tried? Younger days, we would have done that. Have you ever tried that? Follow that bubble. याद आ रहा है? Was it the same bubble there which you saw here? No. You think it was. Your mind says it was. It is not. Because one thought merges into the other, another is created, another merges to other, another is created. Mind is a continuous flow of thoughts. Nothing other than that. So how will you control the mind? Stop thoughts. How can you stop thoughts? Thoughts to aate rahenge na? So mind differs with each one. I am saying something now. You will be thinking differently. You will be thinking differently. She will be thinking differently. Somebody will say, "Abhi next session kabhi chalu hoga? Ya chai kabhi milega?" Differs from time to time. At this moment, our thinking will be very nice, very happy, very. Next moment, get a phone call or get a message. Boom. Or suddenly we get an emergency call. Some friend or somebody has met with an accident. We have to run. Panic. It just differs from time to time depending on situations. It's never static. It's a try-mix monkey. हम लोग बोलते हैं ना, मन बंदर है. Try-mix monkey. Try-mix मतलब 3. क्या है? Good thoughts, bad thoughts, indifferent thoughts. बंदर को कभी कंट्रोल कर पाएंगे हम लोग? ये बंदर है. How do you control a बंदर? You control a बंदर with the madari. The madari for the mind is our intellect. The madari is the one which controls our mind. Mind is free flowing, like water, river water. Isn't it a data dump? Kuch bhi aata hai. Anything that we encounter, it is a dump. So in that way, we feel with our mind. And intellect is the rationale. Post office. Post office. Letters. Continuously letters are coming. In the post office, there are dockets. For example, Chembur post office. I stay in Chembur. 11th road, 10th road, 12th road. Letters which are coming will be put into the respective roads and the postman picks it and goes away. The intellect is like that docket in the post office. It will store the data that we are getting into the area where action is required from our side and then decide whether to act or not. Intellect is the post office. Intellect discriminates whatever data we are receiving and it makes the decision. This is the right thing to do. But the problem with the intellect is most of the time it loses to the mind. हम लोग सोचते हैं कि यही सही काम है, लेकिन करते कुछ और ही है. So in that context, intellect in this is a super processor. With the intellect, we think. These are the three working tools for everybody, you, me, everybody. Nobody is escaped. But we are all distinguished by our thoughts. As the thoughts, so the mind. As the mind, so the man. So we are all distinguished by the thoughts that we carry. So now putting this in perspective with the body, mind, and intellect, we contact the world of objects by perceiving. We feel the world of emotions by the mind. And we think about the thoughts through our intellect. Now, if this is the same for everybody, my question to you is, why are we all different? Why are we all different? If the same thing, no? We all of us same working tools. Why are we all different? Can anybody tell me why we are all different? Processes. Processor different है. Chip अलग है. Chip अलग है. Chip अलग है. Anybody else? There are imprints in our mind. Imprints from a past life or imprints of the present life by which we make our own judgment about how we need to deal with situations. For example, a case comes to us professionally. A case comes to us where we will have to take a decision of being a party to a fraud or not. There is a fraud. We know that there is a fraud which is being committed. Client is making us sign that balance sheet or making us do a wrong representation in front of the authorities or whosoever. There is one person who says, no, I will not stand with this. To hell with you. To hell with your clientele, I will report this. And there is another person who says that, client bachana hai. I will have to be a party to this. So once you start distinguishing these two, it is because of the imprints. Same knowledge, same apparatus, same tools, yet you are doing it differently because the imprints in you are different. एक अमिताभ बच्चन है, एक शशि कपूर है. That's the reason why the difference is, because to both of them, the power is the same. The consciousness which is empowering both of them is the same. So the life principle is the same in all of us. Our distinctive factor is the imprints, which is V for vasanas. Normally in Hindi, when we say vasanas, we all think it is lust. Vasanas are tendencies, what we are already conditioned with. Now we can change our conditions. Our conditioning we can change because it is definitely something which can be changed. So now when I look at it as a prism, what is a prism? In science we learned in school. Prism is a triangular piece of glass which refracts light. Simple. So when sunlight comes through the prism, what comes out is the rainbow, 7 colors of the Vijay. But if the prism is now called the body, mind, and intellect, my working tools, life, which is the consciousness, is going through that, and the experiences will be colorful. Now assume that this prism is dirty. One side is dirty. Body? Normally not. Mind? Oh, definitely possible. Intellect? Certainly possible. This side or this side? It's dirty. The refraction of the light will not be colorful. The refraction, which is the output of what is going from light to us, will not be good. So it is left to us to manage our mind, which is our flow of thoughts, and manage our. That is what you need to remember. Know him? Tolstoy name. Darwin. Charles Darwin. Now, Darwin's theory of evolution was man was whatever he was. Purana Bandhak. From stone, the world came out. Right? And from there, we are what we are. And अभी क्या कर रहे हैं? आदमी बोले इरेक्ट चलेगा, अभी आदमी इरेक्ट नहीं हो रहा है. रास्ते में भी एक्सेस क्या है? This is how we are walking. My wife always complains when I'm watching the mobile. She tells me that. She says, "What are you doing?" Correct? This is how we are walking. So this is Darwin's theory of evolution. Now, when we understand that in scientific context, from the volcanoes, what came was stones. Stones fossilated, and we got fossils which became plants. Plants fed on insects because of the fossilization and the process. Insects came about, and insects grew to become animals. And animals gained the only distinguishing factor between man and animal. Man is an intelligent animal. The difference between man and animal is buddhi, because he got buddhi and he became man. This is the theory of evolution from Darwin. Correct? Now, when we look at it, we have people in all these categories even today. There are people who are stone man. Stone man मतलब उसको एक ही चीज चाहिए, तेरे को जो करने का कर, मुझे जो आता है आना चाहिए, मुझे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, कोई मरे कोई जिए, it doesn't make any bit of difference to me. There are people like that. And then there are plant men. Plant men मतलब what do plants need? Nourishment. Nourishment मतलब मेरे को मेरा क्या 2-3 टाइम का खाना, 2 टाइम का दारू काफी है, और 2 टाइम का 1 टाइम का काफी है. That's all I need. So they are plant men. Then there are animal men. क्या है? उसको मार के मैं बड़ा बनेगा. So for me to grow, I will have to destroy somebody. Animal tendency. I will destroy somebody and then I will become bigger. Animal. And man, which is very few. That is what we are all striving to become. Ki human life is a great blessing. It's a great blessing. And in our Shastras it is said that we don't know when we die whether we are going to come back as whatever. It's an insect, animal, how we are going to come, we don't know. Right? And we don't know where we came from in this Darwin's theory. So when this blessing is there, why should that blessing only be for me? That blessing is for you also. We are all part of the same race. So when we can deal with each other in a protective manner, that is what growth happens. So this is not a matter of destiny. Many of us think that it is a matter of destiny. Why are you like this? Arey yaar, takdeer ki baat hai. It is by our own effort. तकदीर है क्या मैं क्या जानूं, तकदीर है क्या मैं क्या जानूं, मैं आशिक हूं तदबीरों का. Tadbir is effort. Tadbir is effort. So we are all what we are because of our own effort. We took effort from being man to become stone man. We took effort from becoming man to plant man. It is time that we took an effort to become a man. That is entirely left to us. I have, during COVID, I released this book of mine. Basically, a a bunch of sayings I used to write on every day. For almost 3 years, 3.5 years, I used to write. I wrote about 800, 900 thoughts. I used to pick out a couplet from somebody. Somebody had said a couplet, or even including Gita. And from there, I used to write my own take on that. So here's just one sample of that to deal with change. The verse here says from the Gita, Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityur dhruvam janma mritasya cha tasmat pariharayetha natvam shochitu marhasi. Now this basically it is used when you get many these death columns, they use this also, this verse also. What does this say? Example, cotton. The shirt I'm wearing is cotton. Now the cotton shirt was cotton first. Then cotton became yarn. Yarn became fabric. Fabric became shirt. Before it became cotton, it was a cotton seed. So every process of change that has happened is what has made this shirt possible. Now, change is a constant flow. It keeps on changing. Let us take a tree, for example. Seed. Seed is sown, became a sapling. Sapling became a stem plant. Then became a tree. Tree bore fruit. Fruit fell down. Seed went back to the floor. New tree came up. Correct? So this change is an eternal process in life. So when change is an eternal process, why we cannot change to become something better? This is the principle in which entire change itself is this. And we grieve changes. Nuksan ho gaya, nuksan ho gaya. Fayda hoga. Client gaya. I'll give you an example of this. This happened to me when I quit practice. When he introduced me, he mentioned about my being with the Chennai University. So it was an opportunity which came to me that I could ideate and establish a university. I chose to do that. Now what do I do? I was already 35 years into practice. What do I do? Practice was originally father's. I joined father. Then my younger brother qualified. He was also with me. Father had passed away by then. So only me and my brother were there. Now when this time came, typically what we will do, and all of you can relate to this thinking, what we will do, all the clients will continue with my brother because I am going to quit. I gave my COP. I surrendered my COP for 4 years. So normally what we will do, ask my brother to manage it. Now, one thing we have, and many of you will relate to this, practice in those kind of firms is basically individualistic. It's personality oriented. You will relate to me. You will meet my brother and you'll say, hello, aap unke Suresh ke bhai ho. You will not relate to him. Somebody else will be his client. He will relate to me, aap Suresh ke bade bhai ho. Ramesh ke bade bhai ho. Haath milate. Beyond that, no. I will not, and in our practice, we had followed this system. I will not handle his client, he will not handle my client. This is the practice we were following. So when the time came for me to surrender, I went to each and every client, had a cup of chai with him, coffee, and told him, this is what I'm doing. Here is your file. So many clients ask me this question, why don't you ask your brother to handle it? I said, you will look for me in my brother. You will look for me in my brother, and my brother is not me. And then tomorrow you and he will have a problem. You will seek my help in solving it. He will seek my help in solving it. My relation with both of you will get spoiled. Instead, you find a CA. I will handhold him. I'm out. My friends who were there with me at that time, they say, you are a mad fellow. ऐसा कोई करता है क्या? इतना साल का practice है. I said, that is what came to me as the right thing to do. So when you look at that, that change never troubled me. Today I have very good relations with my old clients. Even today when they call me, how are you? How is your family? उनका काम का कुछ भी बात नहीं करते. जरूरत नहीं. And there are many of them were clients who were there for 30 years. Relations आज भी intact. One-to-one. Right? So that change was acceptable. So the question is, are you in a position to accept a change? and go ahead from there. That is what is the important thing that we need to learn.
Did not say that if you want, you can have my brother is a.
I did not say.
So why?
You are asking me why I did not say. I did not want the same thing. What they asked me, I also did not want that. Me and my brother had already decided. Me and my brother had already spoken about it. He said, no, don't give me any of your clients. Because tomorrow they will look at, because the way I deal with them, I'm a different person. There is a tendency, na? We think that I'm like my father. Me and my brother are similar. Me and my child will think the same way. Me and my wife will think the same way. We are all separate individuals. It is the design of creation that has brought all of us together, like how all of you are together today listening to me. It is a design of creation. When it is a design of creation, then I need to understand that we are different. Now, when you are expecting something from him as a response that you would have expected from me, and that is not forthcoming, and it will not be because we are different.
There will be comparison.
There will be comparison. And in comparison, you will spoil relations. Your work has to be done. No? Find a professional. I'll handle that person. You need a professional, you find a professional. He is a professional, but then you will start look मेरी छवि उस पे ढूंढोगे. नहीं है. नहीं है. Independent है. I may have a lot of qualities of my father, but I am not my father. This is very important to learn. So once you understand that, then there is no pain. There is no pain. Each one is unique. That is important. So in that perspective, Bhagavad Gita is a guidebook. It is not a prayer book. This is important to learn. That's one important thing about the Gita that we need to understand. So let us take some verses to discuss. Chapter 2, verse 30. I'll not go into the Sanskrit. I'll just go directly to the English part. Just as this body, in this body, the embodied soul passes into childhood, youth, and old age, so also all of us pass on to another body. The firm man does not grieve at all. In the context, where is the context of Bhagavad Gita? Where is it being talked about? Where is Bhagavad Gita discussion happening? At the battlefield. And it is part of which text? Mahabharata. Mahabharata is called as the fifth Veda. In the Mahabharata, where the battle is happening, and they have been preparing for this battle for years together. 14 साल से चल रहा है, उसके बाद में 1 साल से चल रहा है, and then this battle is happening. At the battle, when the battle is about to commence, he is telling me, you take me into the middle of the battlefield. Arjuna, take me to the middle of the battlefield. Let me see who are my opponents, who are on this side. Let me see. After seeing that, he says, मेरी तो फटी हालत है, मुझे नहीं करना है. That's what he says, मुझे नहीं करना है. So in that context is this entire discussion happening. So here Krishna is telling him, the body, the same body. Am I what I was when I was in school, that fellow who used to poke his finger inside the electric plug? I am not. Today I'm talking about it. I'm not. Am I the same fellow who used to go in the college library? Nilesh Vikamsi was my batchmate. We all used to sit in Podar College library for studying. And Kamlesh Bhai was also there at that time. He was studying for final. हम लोग सब इंटर वाले. Yeah. First year BCom. I don't remember where we were studying. I had a problem. And Podar College library was on the 3rd floor. No lift. No lift. ऊपर जाके पढ़ना है. So हम लोग सब 10-11 of us, all of us batchmates, we used to study. My attention span was 1 hour. Beyond 1 hour, I could not study. मैं उठेगा और मैं उठूंगा तो कम से कम 2-4 लोग बोलेंगे ये साला उठ गया. Because I cannot go to even drink water alone. I need at least one person for company. किस पे मेरा हाथ गिरेगा मालूम नहीं. वो पढ़ता रहेगा बेचारा. चल पानी पीने चलते. चल चाय पीने चलते. And we used to have a place for nashta was Mani's Cafe at near Rio College. 3 माला उतरो, Mani's Cafe जाओ, नाश्ता करो, 3 माला चढ़ो. He used to get so annoyed. But today I will not do that. That was different. So childhood I was different, youth I was different, today I'm different. So the body, same body is moving from one place to another. This same body, when it is gone, will find some other residing place. No, the body is gone. So the word here that is used is embodied soul, which means what? That soul, that power, that consciousness is in this body. When the body goes, what happens to that? That will find another parking place. गाड़ी तो चलते रहेगी, because we say आत्मा अमर है. If it is amar, it has to find some place else to go. It will find another place. तो क्या सोचने का? So this means that change is inevitable. This change is inevitable. That change is also inevitable. So learn to accept change and grow with change. Now today, if the call of the profession is to say that if fraud or any malfeasance or any kind of malpractice has to be avoided, it is a call of the profession. Accept that that is what we have to do, no matter what the compulsions are, because things will change, 100% change, because change is the only permanent law. Verse 14. How work sets the universe in motion. Annat bhavanti bhutani parjanyat anna sambhava. Yajnat bhavati parjanya yajna karma samudbhava. What does this mean? From food, anna. Anna, food. From food come forth beings. Bhuta. Bhutani. From food come forth beings. Parjanya, rain. Parjanya, anna sambhava. From rain, food comes. Yajna bhavati parjanya. That is, yajna means sacrifice. Yajna is what we put something, no? Yajna. Sacrifice. Sacrifice. Rain comes. And yajna happens by karma. You put no. So from food come forth beings, from rain food is produced, from sacrifice arises rain, sacrifice is born of action. Now how does it make a difference to us? Think. Food. Is food only that which we eat? That which we see? Food. That which we hear? Food. That which we experience? Food. Everything. Because ultimately, when we eat food, we say, nice. Both are coming from where? Mind. The tongue is telling the mind that ये अच्छा है, ये बुरा है. 2 इंच में पूरे शरीर को अपने को कम्युनिकेशन मिलता है. 2 इंच में. So that food that we are talking about is actually food for the mind, not for the tongue, not for the tummy. So anything that we see, hear, smell, taste, feel, everything is food. So every food comes from rain. So what is rain in this context? Rain is the kind of thoughts that we entertain. So subtle, the kind of thoughts that we entertain. From sacrifice arises rain. Which means what? You sacrifice negativity to embrace positivity. You sacrifice negativity to embrace positivity. Negativity is so easy, no? It's so easy to welcome negativity. You sacrifice negativity to embrace positivity. So how will that sacrifice be possible? By a conscious action from us that negativity ये दरवाजे के बाहर, positivity ये दरवाजे से अंदर. It's a conscious action. So when we look at it that way, this so simple sounding verse is so poignant for us for our life itself, understanding how we need to lead our life. So our own actions design our fruits in future. For that, we have to act boldly. Simple. Negativity is so easy to embrace. So situational solutions to life's challenges. This is what Gita does.
From sacrifice to from sacrifices.
From sacrifice arises rain.
Would like to know a certain understanding.
Rain's thoughts, I said. Correct?
Sacrifice arises.
So sacrifices arises rain. What is rain? Thoughts, no? Now that what thoughts do I want to entertain? I want to entertain positive thoughts.
What you are sacrificing?
Negativity. Negativity.
Okay.
I sacrifice negativity so that positivity will come. Then how do I sacrifice? By taking the action of shutting that door. That door I'm shutting. You are not welcome. He is welcome. That is an action.
Rain means positivity.
Rain means positive. So the kind of thoughts I entertain will determine the kind of journey that I will have. If my thought says, "Koi dekh nahi raha," my thoughts. So then what happens? You are watching yourself. You are saying nobody is watching you. Your conscience is watching yourself. Why are you looking outside to see anybody else is seeing you with their eyes? You are watching yourself. You don't need anybody else to tell you that this is wrong. You yourself are there. You are Amitabh Bachchan who's losing 786. You are the same person. So it is left to you.
To sacrifice one of action is contemplation.
Sacrifice the thought of junking negativity. The action is opening that door and closing this. It's your effort. Entirely left to you. Nobody else can do it for you. You have to do it yourself. Now, professional leadership paradigms, again from Bhagavad Gita. All challenges are man-made. Do we agree? Sometimes our challenges are made by some other man. Mostly the client. All challenges are man-made. Right? Agree. So how can you convert that as an opportunity? Sometimes we may want, and this happened with me. I'm saying this when I was very young as a CA. There was one particular client who was constantly into making things which were not right. So I kept on telling him it is not for the good of your company, it is not for your own future good, etc., etc. It went on, and it used to end up in my boiling my blood many times. I was very young at that time. I'm talking about late 80s and early 90s. I was very young at that time. At a point in time, I told him, get lost. I don't want to do your work. So the decision to make was to give that fellow up. The challenge was what he was making me and the entire organization suffer because of his, what can you say, greed, etc., whatever it is. At a point in time, I had to tell him, get lost. I don't want to do it. It was an opportunity for me to move away from that negativity completely. Because every day I used to be torturing myself in trying to tell him what is not right. What is not right. So that opportunity. Now, are we in a position to use that as an opportunity? At a point in time, you mentor. You try to make sure that the client sees what is right for him and for the organization. Invariably, people see it as your problem. Because a client will see it as what? Tu nahi hai, aur koi karega. This is how they will see, no? Yeah, tu akela CA hai kya? Duniya mein CA. No, jana. Because you need your peace.
And you would think only about this loss of a client.
And ego. If he says, tu nahi to koi aur milega, it may not be the loss of a client. It may be my ego. That because of my foolishness, am I letting go of a client? It may not be money. It may not be money. It may not be the client also. It may be that ego within ourselves which is saying, "Arey, main akka duniya kar rahi hai, main karun kya? Kya galat hai?" It is an ethical dilemma. Now, in that ethical dilemma, even though he may not be a very greatly paying client also, doesn't matter. But then you end up doing that because you don't want to take a stand. So use that as an opportunity for what? For you are moving ahead. Ultimately, whatever we are doing is for our happiness. No, move ahead towards your happiness. Innovate to excel. So if there is some way in which you can innovate, not innovate like in fabricate. Not fabricate. Innovate the way you can address the issue, and then you can excel. Design systems which are people centric. These are all from the Gita. Because जो आदमी अपने लोगों का भला चाहता है, वही आदमी आगे तरक्की कर सकता है. जो आदमी यही सोचता है कि मेरी भलाई किसमें है, it is not people centric, it is me centric. Then you have a value-based vision that sustains, grow, enhances IQ, EQ, and SQ. IQ, intelligence quotient, EQ, emotional quotient, SQ, spiritual quotient. Spiritual quotient is very, very important. What is your spiritual quotient in whatever you are doing is very, very important. So what does the Bhagavad Gita say?
Which will be the base for IQ and EQ.
Exactly. This is a beautiful slogan in Bhagavad Gita. Yadyada charati shrestha tatta devi tavo janaha sa yad pramanam kurute lokas tadanu vartate. What does it mean? Whatever, I will first explain that. Yadyada charati. Yada, whatever, charati, the way conduct. Whatever way, Shrestha, the senior, Vadil Manus, conducts, Tatta Deve Torojana, that and that alone people will see. Yadyat Acharati Shrestha, Tatta Deve Taro Jana. Sa Yad Pramanam, proof. Example. Sa Yad Pramanam, Kurute, Lokas Tadanu Vartate. That benchmark that the leader leaves is what people will follow. So we need to understand what is the leadership that we want to have in the profession. If we want to have leadership, we must establish the conduct the way we want. So leaders set behavioral benchmarks, attitudinal benchmarks. One of the greatest gurus is tortoise. कछुआ गुरु, कछुआ गुरु है, बता सकते हो क्यों? Yes, exactly. Go to a beach, Juhu beach, कछुआ जा रहा है, take a little sand, beach sand, and throw it in front of the कछुआ. It will withdraw its limbs, head, tail inside the shell. The shell is its protection. Now, even if a tiger comes to attack that shell cannot be broken. Correct? So the Kachua is a guru, and there is a sloka in Bhagavad Gita. Like it says, Yada samharati chayam kurmangigani vasarvasha indriyani indriyatebhya tasya prajna pratishtita. This is talking about a sthita prajna, a person who is of an ideal person. What happens? Whenever there is a danger, whenever there is a danger, what do? Brake the car. सामने गाड़ी आ गया, brake the car. Danger. कुत्ता आ गया बीच में. Danger. कुत्ते को मारना नहीं चाहिए. Danger. We are braking the car, right? So whenever there is a danger, like the tortoise, withdraw yourself inside. When you are withdrawing yourself inside, the influence of what is happening outside will not trouble your mind. The trouble in the mind is because you are again contacting the world outside. In your contact, you are again trying to find an answer. First, withdraw. Withdraw meaning what? When you come back to think with a bit, socho. Just take a 2 minutes break. We say no, just take a 2 minutes break and think coolly. That thinking coolly. When you think coolly, then you take the right decision. Change the gear. Correct? So, learn from the tortoise how to protect from self-harm. Yes, please. Indriyani is my Indriya. Indriyani indriyatebhya. So, my Indriya and Indriya's contact outside, I will withdraw. I will withdraw the Indriyas.
Under what conditions? When some temptation comes.
Exactly. The tortoise is protecting from danger. We have to protect from temptation. Temptation is the reason why we are getting stuck, no? So the tortoise is saying, I am protecting from danger. We protect from temptation.
Can we call it as Saryam?
Saryam. But Saryam हमेशा रहता है क्या?
So whenever attraction comes, we withdraw yourself.
So for that, you are traveling to within. The moment, that's what I said, intellect and mind. Thought is coming. Send it to the intellect. Docket में डालो. कौन सा docket में? Safety docket. Safety docket. Positivity docket. Growth docket. Non-fraud docket. Put it down. So you decide, the intellect has to decide where you want to park that. Invariably, it goes to not losing client docket, paisa docket, fame docket. So this is where we have to start distinguishing. Where is it that we need to put it? Now, religious versus spiritual. How many of you feel religion and spirituality are the same?
Especially to practice and become religious.
Spirituality put into practice becomes religious.
That's religious is the process. Spiritual is the back of it, the intentions.
Okay, I'll put it slightly differently. Substantially, what you're saying is true, slightly differently. Religion is what? A set of practices, which takes you nearer to something which you feel very, very dear to you, and which we call, for ease, we call him G-O-D, God. Correct? Religion is basically a set of practices. Now, you are worshipping Krishna here in Bombay. Somebody is worshipping Krishna in Manipur. Somebody is worshipping Krishna in Kerala. Somebody is worshipping Krishna in Kashmir. Are the practices of the same worship to Krishna the same in all the four places? No. So religion, when you do it, so for example, in Tamil Nadu, there used to be a great Shiv Bhakta. He was called Kannappan. Now Kannappan, he was a hunter. He was a hunter. Now this fellow used to offer meat which he killed from the animals as prasads to Shiva. So somebody came and told Shiva, what is this? He's killing another animal and is offering and using, he's a great bhakta. So Shiva said, I will prove it to you that he's a genuine bhakta. So Shiva's eyes, no, in the Shivalinga, one eye started bleeding. So Kannappan could not bear it. Shiva is bleeding. He cut one eye and patched that eye of Shiva. One eye he can see. The other eye started bleeding. He kept his toe on the place where the eye was and cut the other eye and patched it there. And then Shiva appeared and blessed him. He is one of the 64 greatest saints of Shiva Bhakta in Tamil Nadu. This is folklore. So when you talk in terms of bhakti in religion practices, it is bhakti, it is coming from the heart. What do you think? Where did this thought come from? Bhakti. Where did it come from? Purity. Purity of thought. The purity of thought in him made him do that. Where did the purity come from? Set of practices, or let's say the way he has conducted himself in life. Hunting, my profession. Bhakti, my Shiva. What am I? Welfare oriented for my family. Hunting because my profession, main kya karega? So when you look at bhakti and which is religion and spiritual practices, they're two different, slightly different, but on a broader spectrum, spirituality. So now when you say this, we are all familiar with. We are all familiar with this. Yada, how many times you must have heard this in Mahabharata? Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuktanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijanam. What does it mean? It says whenever there is a loss of righteousness, that time I will come. Who will come? Krishna says I will come because he believes that he is God. But whenever there is something which is lost, which needs to be corrected, a Krishna will come. A Krishna will come. A Krishna. Now which Krishna? Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs, from that Apple, then the management of Apple chucked them out. And then Apple suffered. Management of Apple brought him back to resurrect Apple once again. When you know that whenever there is something which is going wrong, one Krishna will appear. Headhunting is exactly that same. When market share is falling, profitability is failing, at that point in time, the right person will come. Now, in our profession, we are maybe going through some hard times in terms of deciding whether we want to do some malpractice or not. Some Krishna will come, who will most likely be a senior in the profession. Because our conscience is telling us that we don't want to do it. We'll go and talk to somebody. ऐसा है क्या करना है? तो छोड़ ना client को. नहीं client ही जाएगा तो कुछ और मिलेगा. ये मत कर. He will tell you the voice of your conscience. The voice of your conscience, which you cannot articulate from your mouth, he will tell you, you will listen to it. And then you will understand that this is what is right. So that is what this sloka can be interpreted for our day-to-day thing. When this cloth becomes bad, jacket, I'll throw it away, buy a new one. West side shopping, lifestyle shopping, falana shopping, dimka shopping, cloth. So like that, this body, when it is losing its function to transact in the world outside, this body will go 75, 80, 85, issue. Ratan Tata. White banyan. Similarly, this body will go, some other body will come for the transaction. Now, when you look at it like that, corporate restructuring is also exactly the same. When new ideas, when new direction, when new path forward is possible, you will change. You will change. You will discard that old one. Discard that client. Show those. New will come. Have faith. Because somewhere or the other, you have to take that call. So this is another, because when we face these ethical dilemmas, this is a wonderful way to learn. Now, when you join all these dots of what we have done so far, we started with a curious mind. What, where, when, how. And then we added to that an egoless, skillful application. Before I move further, I want to bring one phrase from the Gita for us to understand. There are three things to be dropped. Drop. कैसे छोड़ेगा? मैं इसको पकड़ा हूँ, छोड़ दूंगा. If I open my fingers, it will be dropped. Three things to be dropped: attachment, fear, anger. What are the three things? Same sequence: attachment, fear, anger. In the same sequence. Why? From attachment, fear comes. Attachment creates fear of losing that which we are attached to. It could be a thought, could be a person, could be a thing, could be anything. From attachment, fear comes of losing. Now, when that fear is manifested, you lost it. Anger comes of having lost it. So when we get angry, and which we get very often, first travel back one step. Did you fear something which occurred? Did you fear that that was going to occur? And then when you go back from fear one step further, were you attached to that? It is always the case. So for dropping all the three, first you drop attachment. Fear and anger will go away. Easier said than done. But start practicing in small things. It will start working itself. Surrender attitude. Because there is something which is going on, no? Switch mera ki mein. It's only manifestation. Kuch upar se chal raha hai na. Some principle is going on consciousness. It is making me work. So when I am doing whatever I am doing, it is because something is empowering me. Something far more than me is empowering me. When you have that surrender, automatically your mind will become humble. Overcome fear. Overcome fear by dropping attachment. Know yourself. Thyself, myself is myself, which is within. The same self is there. In our tradition, how do we greet people? Namaste. Correct? Now this namaste is to say that the divinity in me is connecting with the divinity in you. Divinity is the same. I am only manifesting that by namaste. And which is why Netanyahu said during COVID, this is the best way to greet people. COVID mein haath nahi milane ka, aise karna. Correct? So once you do that, you will get right knowledge. And in right knowledge, happiness. Ultimately, whatever we are doing is only for happiness. Ready to unlearn to learn. Adi Shankara. You heard of Adi Shankara? He was a great scholar. the Advaita scholar of India. He brought a lot of these texts for our common man's use. Now, he had a what do you call that? Intellectual argument with one scholar by the name Mantana Mishra, who went on to become his disciple later. The question was, is there Advaita or Dvaita? Advaita means there is no God. You and me, God are same. Dvaita is God and you are separate. This is the discussion. Umpire, Mantana Mishra's wife. Umpire was the opponent's wife. She was also a great scholar. Shankara was willing to make her the umpire. She said she is a great scholar. She understands. And I'm willing to unlearn what I am saying, provided you are able to convince me that what I am saying is wrong. And then finally Shankara won. Mantana Mishra became his disciple later. So that is the courage you must have. Ready for self-effort. Maharshi Valmiki. He was a hunter by name Ratnakara. He was hunting in the forest. Narada came. Narada came and said, what are you doing? He said, I'm hunting. Not hunting, I'm sorry. Robber. Dacoit. He was a dacoit. I'm a dacoit. So what are you doing? Why? I'm looting people. Why? Because I have to feed my family. I have to feed my family. Oh, so this is a sin. So what? I'm doing it for my family. So is your family a party to your sin? Narada's question. Of course they will be. I'm feeding them. Okay, you just go and ask them. He went and asked. He went and asked. His father said, you are my son. Mother said, you are my son. You have to provide for us. How you provide is your problem. If there is a sin, it is your sin, not our sin. Wife, you are my husband. You have to look after me and my children. It is your duty. How you do is your problem, not my problem. If there is a sin, it is your sin. Then he realized, my God, I have been doing my sin all these years, thinking that they are my partners in sin. Nobody is your partner in sin. Then he went back to Narada, and Narada told him to chant Rama's name. He did not even say how to chant Rama's name. So he said, see, Mara Mara. This is in Tamil Nadu. Mara Mara. Mara is 3. Mara 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 became Rama 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 Rama. And then that is how he went on to become Valmiki. This is the story. So readiness to share. Dronacharya, great teacher. We have Dronacharya Award for teachers, isn't it? And he was contracted, I'm using some very strong words. He was contracted to teach the Kaurava and Pandava princes about everything in politics and warfare. That was his job. He is a teacher. Ekalavya came in contact with him. He said, will you please make me your guru? He said, I am contracted to teach only princes. Ekalavya himself was a prince of a tribe. He says, no, only Kshatriyas, not you. So Ekalavya made a murti of Drona and learned archery on his own. One day, when the children, Kaurava, Pandavas, are all playing, one dog was barking. And that was disturbing them, disturbing Ekalavya also. He fired out 7 arrows. All the 7 arrows went and hit the tongue of the dog. Nowhere else. The dog could not bark. It didn't die. It could not bark. Arjuna also wondered, who is this fellow who's been able to fly these arrows so accurately? They found that it was Ekalavya. He said, who is your guru? He said, Drona is my guru. Drona had not taught him. Drona is my guru. So Arjuna got angry with Drona. You told me you may be the best archer in the world. And you are teaching somebody else. So Drona went there. And he says, I didn't teach you. He says, but I made a murti of you and I learned on my own. So he said, okay, now if you say I'm your guru, you have to give me Guru Dakshina. So whatever you say, give me your thumb. Dishum, nikal ke de diya. Now look at the other side. But Drona after that blessed him that you'll be a great archer. How? Without the thumb. Those days archery used to be like this. You hold the arrow like this. You see the recent Olympics and wherever you find any international game now, they hold the bow, arrows like this. The thumb is ruled out. Ekalavya went on to become a great archer by using these 4 fingers, no thumb. So knowledge he shared, unknown to him, he shared that you can use your 4 fingers without the thumb to use archery. So every journey, when you look at it, is unique. Every journey that we have is unique. I find it difficult, but that's okay. We are not sports people. But that's a fact. You just watch any videos, you know. Correct? Every journey is unique. So हम लोग सब अकेले ही हैं. चल अकेला चल अकेला चल अकेला तेरा मेला पीछे छूटा राही चल अकेला. This is the attitude we must have. So I will quickly. I will need one more hour, but I will not do that. I am not going to do this, quitting certain things, because this is something which I have prepared on the basis of a design program at Stanford University. But I'll just go to Gita directly. So what is our attitude? Every mistake is a learning. Every challenge brings us confidence to face it. Effort is my only right. I have duty, only duty, to me and to others. Happiness is my nature. I don't have to go in search of happiness. It is my very nature. Past is what created my present, and my present is what will create my future. Loving and sharing to grow. This is the Gita way of living. I just want to bring one small example because I want to take a few questions also for 5 minutes if it's possible. I want to bring one small understanding about how my work is going to be, my meaning, all of us, in the Gita way of learning. We know the background in which Bhagavad Gita happened, how it happened with Arjuna surrendering that I don't want to do it. So at the first instance is, I don't want to do it because I don't want to fight my family members. This is what he said with his words. But somewhere in the back of his mind, what was the army distinction between the two? 7:11. Pandava army was 7, they were 11. So somewhere, and a stalwarts of fighters there, and fighting for a big cause. So what if I get defeated? I am Arjuna. I cannot get defeated. Somewhere in the back of that mind, the self-doubt was there. So self-doubt plus the fear of having to fight family members made him feel defeatist before he started. This is the context in which Bhagavad Gita happens, right? So when we look at it, at the start, I am saying, I won't do it. Arjuna, I won't do it. Then as Krishna kept on talking to him, he says, I can't do it. I can't fight my family. Next, okay, you're saying I should, because actually Bhagavad Gita is 18 chapters. The entire Gita would have ended in 2 chapters. Second chapter, the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita is only about Arjuna lamenting. Ayyo, mere se nahi hoega, ayyo, mere se nahi hoega. Second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is called Sankhya Yoga, completes the entire learning of Bhagavad Gita in a nutshell in 72 slokas. But after that, he asks one question, Arjuna, because he starts his questioning. Once he starts his questioning, another 16 chapters come. That is how the Gita is moving. So at that point in time, he's got that thing. Acha, I want to do it. Third chapter. And then, how do I do it? He's asking you, how my karma yoga, how should I perform? Then, okay, he says, I will try to do it. Then he believes that he can do it. He says, I will do it. Of course, yes, I did it, 18th day. Correct? Now, for all that, when he says, I will do it, 18th chapter ends with one sloka in which he says, Krishna is telling him, I have told you whatever I have to tell you. Whatever I have to tell you here in the past, future, everything I have told you. Now you do what you like. And then Arjuna responds to that saying, I have learned whatever you have told me. I will do whatever you tell me to do. And then the war starts. So that surrender happens at the end, complete surrender. You are there, why should I worry? हम लोग बोलते हैं, अरे तुम्हें मेरे को क्या डर है? लेकिन अगर वो नहीं करेगा तो, अगर नहीं करेगा तो, अरे मेरे को पैसे का बहुत प्रॉब्लम है. तू चिंता मत कर, कब चाहिए? 10 दिन के बाद में. कितना चाहिए? 25 लाख रुपए. हाँ, मैं देता हूँ. 8th day, वो नहीं देगा तो. Correct? So that faith he had. You have taught me whatever whatever you teach me, I have full faith in you. I will do whatever you tell me. And then I did it. This is the Gita way of learning. So you are defeated before you start. Then you learn how to act. Then you practice what is selfless action. Action which is not oriented to me, which is oriented to collective growth. Synthesize that action wisely. Then there is no attachment. मैं किया, मेरा है. Attachment ही नहीं है. There is no attachment. It is, I am doing it, it has to be done. That is why I am doing it. Renounce the fruit of action. Renounce the fruit of action क्या बोलते हैं? फीस आएगा, उसको renounce करो. नहीं होता है. वो नहीं है. Fruit of action is the feeling that it is occurred because of me. That is the fruit of action that we are talking about. That attachment to that fruit, it has to come. No, you did your duty. Whatever is required of you, you did it. And finally, whatever is the fruit has to come. It will come. You renounce it. You renounce it. It is to मेरे को आना चाहिए, मेरा आना चाहिए. उसके बाद में पैसा apply करना है. That is our problem. What we do it. Learn that there is that principle called electricity, which is running and which is what is making us do whatever we are doing.
सर काम करना है क्लाइंट पैसा दे या ना दे पैसा
ऐसा नहीं बोल रहा हूँ. क्लाइंट पैसा नहीं देगा तो काम क्यों करोगे?
लिटरली नहीं है
नो नो लिटरल मीनिंग में काम करेगा तो फिर बाद में हम लोग को सब कोहिनूर के बाहर बैठना पड़ेगा. Mutual love meaning understand that everybody is the same. I told you the example of what happened 40 years ago when I was fighting with my client. वो भी मेरे ही जैसा है ना, लेकिन झगड़ा करना पड़ा. At a point in time I had to tell him go get lost. Till then, say that the same information is to be shared with him. Be grounded in the now. हम लोगों को क्या problem है मालूम है? Where are we now? We are either there in the past or we are there in the future. We are never in the now. Everything that happens in our life is in the now. Now is constantly moving. It is moved from here, but we never act in the now. Our mind is always here or here. That is what is our problem. Build these inner qualities, understand that power in all of us is the same. Happy or sad in that situation is entirely my choice. किसी और का नहीं है. And when I reach on top, what do I feel? Liberated. Ultimately, we all want to be liberated only. So this universal love, in one short slide, I'll share the slide after this. Love is to human hearts what the sun is to the flowers. अगर सूरज रोशनी नहीं देगा, sunflower तो खुलेगा ही नहीं ना. So love is that to the human hearts. Elements meaning space, sun's light, water's coolness, earth's comfort, air's vitality, space existentiality, सबके लिए सेम है. Does it say that मैं तुम्हारे लिए शाइन करूंगा, तुम्हारे लिए नहीं करूंगा? सनलाइट आया तो सबके लिए आया, नहीं आया तो किसी के लिए नहीं आया. Earth doesn't say that I'm तुम्हारी माँ, you're not, I'm not his माँ. Everybody is माँ. Creation is universal. So the creator has to be universal. There cannot be a second creator. There has to be one universal creator. So that is Vayam Amritasya Putraha. That we are all children of that nectar, that God. One principle. But belief systems are independent. Manipur में अलग, Rajasthan में अलग, Kerala में अलग. Heart is the home for all the culture that we are developing. So when we reach out to embrace. तो embrace करने के लिए बोला मैं कि कॉलेज में बच्चों से भी बात करता हूँ ना, embrace करने के लिए लड़के लोगों को बोलता हूँ, बाहर जाके ऐसा नहीं करने का. I am going to embrace, सर ने बोला है करके कोई लड़की को जाके embrace मत करना. ठीक है, लगेगा इधर. तो मैं I am not responsible for that. Develop universal family ego. अपना family ego कैसा है? Me and my family. Because they are connected. My brother, my sister, my father, my mother, my uncle, my grandfather. But everybody is the same, no? Love thy neighbor as thyself. Correct? Bible. तो बाजू में एक लड़की थी, उसके पास जाके बोला, बाइबल में बोला है, love my neighbor. मैं आके तेरे को पप्पी देता हूँ. हाँ, मेरा बाप आके तेरे को दे सकता है सर के नीचे. Become an ocean of compassion. Karuna. Compassion, if it is there, then it will actually manifest in the way you're dealing with people. That's all there is to universal love. I'll just stop. There is few more slides, I'll share that. Last song. क्या है ये? Together. तू प्यार का सागर है, तेरी एक बूंद के प्यासे हम.
सर पहले तो आपकी बात है तो दूसरा था नहीं.
Thank you very much. If there are any questions, I welcome them briefly for a couple of minutes if there is any.
चलेगा. So what does it say? कर्मण्येव अधिकारस्य. So what is my right? My adhikar is only to karma. My adhikar is only to what I am doing, my work. My adhikar is never to the fruits. If you want to go to bhajan, a satsang, where there is something happening, bhajan is an easy way of understanding because now it is one. And we are all collectively enjoying what is happening. At the end of the bhajan, we are given prasad, one laddu. Correct? One laddu. Somebody will say there are 8,000. Your adhikara is that one laddu which is coming to everybody. So in any common endeavor that we do, the adhikara is to what is available commonly. For example, this presentation I said I will share. Adhikara is to share the presentation. Karma, listen. Invite. Absorb. Put it to you. That is karma. So my right is only to do my job, my duty. My right is never to enjoy the fruits. Fruits will come. Fruits will come. And this happened with me as well, because when I went to the university, one of the things which I told Swamiji was, I will not, I work for it, I don't want this. This is a cause of goodness, this is a cause of the world, I don't want to be paid. He said, how do you look after your family? I said, that will be looked after. You don't worry about it. My job is to ensure that this work has to be done in the manner that is required to be done for prosperity, for progeny in future. That's it, not for me. So that karma is only that. Adhikara not for me. Nobody else. Anything else?
Thank you, Suresh sir.
You are saying, madam is breaking. The second speaker is already waiting.
Yes.
Shut up.
No, this is actually an ongoing process, lifelong process. इसको 1-2 घंटे के लिए हम नहीं it do justice. But Suresh sir has गागर में सागर का काम किया है sir.